following is KPB Media Works production.
Choose your fighter.
From the creative studios at the Will Library in Yonkers, New York, and brought to you by KPB Media Works. Welcome to another episode of KPBCast with your host, Rafael. Hopefully everybody out there in podcast land is having a good weekend, having a good day. Father's Day weekend, so definitely a big shout out to all the fathers within the community, within the gaming community in general. Me, myself, I have 3 kids, and let me tell you, my oldest one just turned 8 years old this past Friday, and it's just amazing seeing how time flies by. 8 years old. And here's to plenty more. His little sister got jealous that it's his birthday, and we're having a little get-together with all his friends. I mean, mind you, she was invited as well. We're not going to leave her. But sibling love, what could you do? It's funny that on Wednesdays when I take my kids to go play chess, I became friends with somebody there. He's just another father taking his daughter to chess. And we just started to chat. Might as well, especially when you're doing all these extracurricular activities with your kids. Like my son also plays baseball, and I help coach the team. So you're damn right I have to get along with every other parent. And you just get to know a little bit about each other. You know, not trying to become best friends, but just the social aspect of things. And going back to the guy at the library, it's pretty funny. He brings up the fact that, man, he wishes he would have concentrated more on chess than gaming. He's about my age. And I'm not saying, I don't think the guy is out on the street being a bum or anything, but that just kind of threw me back a little bit. And it makes me think to a lot of us who this hobby of ours, and it is a hobby for the overwhelming majority of us. And he said he's never going to let his daughter play as many video games as he did. He doesn't want to have her dedicate as much time to video games as he did. He felt that it was just a complete waste of his time. And I'm like, I don't think so, man. I mean, you got to remember, especially people my age, and I shouldn't even say it like that, but a lot of us grew up where video games, and let's not even include arcades on this one, but home consoles, it was really about the social aspect of N64, having everybody over, wrestling games, shooter games. Everybody was in the living room just having fun until the real advent of strictly online play came to consoles. Because we all know what online play was for PC, LAN centers back then, Counter-Strike. But, some of the best times of my gaming life were being in the living room with a bunch of friends playing, WCW Revenge, No Mercy, Mario Kart. And it's funny because he just said, hell no, I would never do that again. And I mean, maybe he just had a bad experience with something, but it got me to thinking, how many people out in the gaming community, maybe they're a little bit afraid to talk to people about, hey, this is what I did growing up, but that's what we all did. Gaming is a big part of our generation. It's just something we can never take away. Maybe some people do feel shame. I mean, I don't. Am I as hardcore a gamer as a lot of you guys and girls are out there? No, I'm not. But there's nothing wrong with that. My kid still plays video games. I mean, he's not playing anything advanced like Modern Warfare or Battlefield or some of these Star Wars games. No, man. He's having fun playing Doritos Crash Course. He plays Super Meathead, Cuphead. And, still the age of innocence. Maybe he's gonna take up video games, but again, it's one of those things. Like my buddy at the library during the chess clubs, he's like, man, I'm telling you, my kids are never ever gonna take up gaming as much as I have. But it was a pretty interesting conversation. And maybe some of you guys and girls out there have had that conversation. Some of the parents within the gaming community, and if so, do you feel because this was your hobby that you have to implement it onto your kid? I feel I don't. He takes to gaming because, hey, this is something fun. Look at it. It's like it's how we got caught into it. What's all this noise? What's all this fun stuff happening on screens? It's just a very interesting conversation to have with him, and it just is what it is. We can't do much about it. There are some people that feel shame. I mean, I know I don't. I love every single moment I could take a chance to play some video games when I'm not playing pool or when I'm not doing some of my other side jobs or when I'm not at, it's just something that I could never, I will never hold any kind of malice towards it. And speaking of malice, and I say that jokingly, one of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast, and I apologize for being out so long, is that some people decided to point something my way. It's funny, I do a gaming podcast, and anybody who knows me knows I'm not very much into social media. Sometimes some people get mad that I don't keep up as much as I should. It's just, I'm still getting used to trying to be up to date with everything, and truth be told, the majority of everything when it comes to the FGC and the gaming community online is just nonsense, and it's just I don't have much patience for it, but unfortunately that's just the way the community is. You're not gonna, I guess it depends, because there are some really shady things that maybe you want to definitely keep an arm's length away. And unfortunately, those are topics, and we're not going to get into that. But one of the reasons why I got asked to give my opinion of this is, from my understanding, the last podcast I did regarding the Evo Awards, and I don't know how many people reviewed that show. There's so many podcasts regarding the fighting game community. I would like to sort of give myself credit for the abundance of podcasts. I mean, they are way more consistent than I was. When I first started this out, it was fun, and next thing you know, you turn around, everybody and their mother has a podcast. But that was during the pandemic. There was just so much time everybody had on their hands, and why not get into podcasting? But regarding my last podcast, the Evo Awards, from my understanding, that got to the ears of a couple of people that did not like what they heard. And from my understanding, it was maybe some of the people who put the thing together. But it's all criticism. If my words offended anybody over there, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe some people just didn't like hearing the truth, or maybe who the heck is this guy over here? Is he starting to start trouble? Like, no, man. I'm just here doing a little podcast regarding the gaming community. In this case, it is the fighting game community. And if you want to hear what I had to say, you're more than welcome to go back. And going back to what I had said, somebody mentioned what I'm about to talk about. Is like, hey, Ralph, please give your thoughts about this. You usually always have a good opinion. Sometimes it may be right, and sometimes it may be wrong. But, again, you tend to give a good opinion about things, and that topic is regarding the entrance fees to get inside this year's the 2025 edition, the Evo. It's gonna basically cost you between $400 and $500 depending on how many games you enter. And mind you, it's only $10 per. That's just for you to be entered into the tournament. The $400, there's just a venue fee, entertainment fee. It's literally just to get inside the event. I don't even think I saw anything regarding a spectator's pass. But $400 to $500, and a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, you know what, inflation gets everybody. But I showed that to a couple of people that had attended previous Evos, and they just laughed. It's like, whoa, what the heck is this? $100 for me getting inside a couple of years ago was a lot, but this is just not inflation. This is absolutely insane. And like somebody in that group mentioned, it's funny because they're advertising it as a fighting game festival, which I always thought that's what Evo was. I guess Evo is very different for a couple of people. Some people, this is the championship. This is the thing that you want on your trophy. Perfect example. Last time they had Marvel 3 there. A lot of people's best, favorite players, they all thought they were going to go in there and, just wipe everybody clean. No. unfortunately, because of what Evo's become, because of that reputation that I guess you get from winning one of those titles, we got one of the most boring top 8s we've ever seen. And listen, if you may not agree with that, but a couple of unknowns made it to top 8, top 16, but those are the people who stayed with the game. Those are the people who decided to, hey, let's just keep grinding it out. The major quote-unquote tournament circuit might be over, but, there's dedicated people for all games. Super Turbo's a perfect example. Third Strike's a perfect example. My buddy Shock, he does the Outer Haven Mortal Kombat 2 tournaments, and that thing fills up very, very quickly. The Drusus, another guy who does a ton of classic Mortal Kombat stuff, whenever he runs his Mortal Kombat tournaments, they fill up, and those are offline at an arcade. Shout outs to those guys. And what comes with that Evo Championship, that title, that, it just comes with, if you want to say reverence, if that's the right word to use, if that's, oh man, he won an Evo title, he's on top of the world. But now with this entrance fee, and, I saw some backlash to it. Some people was like, hell no, I'm not going to make it over there. First of all, you're asking $400 to get into the place. I don't know what the hotel situation is. A lot of people tell me the hotel sucks. I don't know. I wasn't there. A lot of people just don't like it. Maybe they found a different venue. Again, I've never attended Evo. I don't ever plan on to. It's just something that's not on my bucket list of things to do in life, especially when it comes to the fighting game community. It's just not. I had my fair share enough of the FGC. Everybody who goes to Evo does it in this case because they just want to be part of the event. The overwhelming majority of us, we're all gonna go over there. Everybody, we're gonna go 0-2, and we're just gonna take in the rest of Vegas because that's really the draw. But this $400, $500 fee just to get into the place, is it fair? I'm not the right person to ask that. I mean, that's a hell of a jump in price. Listen, some people are going to pay it. This is the granddaddy of them all. Right now, tournament season is going on. A lot of people don't like calling it that, but it is what it is. You had the Capcom Cup. You have SNK with Fatal Fury just recently came out, and it's getting a lot of attention, even though some people may not like it. That's just something that's still breathing from the old console wars where people just can't help but take a side and, swear upon that this, their way is the right way. Come on, we all remember that. Screw Sony, Nintendo all the way. Screw Nintendo, Sega all the way. This is just another take on it. The entrance fee stuff, all I ask is that people, let's be responsible here. I'm not going to tell you how to use your money. But if you're going to be paying this just to say that you were the one that was there, hey, listen, Evo is, again, it's the pinnacle. That's what everybody wants it to be. Oh, excuse me, the USA Evo. Because now we have Evo Japan and soon enough Evo France. And I kind of joked, hey, listen, man, they need to fund these things some certain way, right? They also need to find funds to, and I'm sure the list hasn't been released yet, and I'm probably gonna look at it for 2 seconds and just move on with my life. They also need to find ways to, pay all these commentators that are gonna be going over there, to commentate your favorite game, because commentating, by all means, it's, announcing commentators for some reason in this community is like one of the biggest highlights. I don't understand why. I have no idea. Hey, listen, I'm not a big Joe Buck fan. A lot of people are going to be like, who the heck is Joe Buck? Not a lot of people in the scene watch traditional sports, but he's the Fox NFL commentator who got a crap ton of money, and it is the NFL. They make money ham over fist, but he doesn't change much of anything. Nobody is watching football because Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are commentating, but I don't know, man. With commentators, like I said, I never understood the fascination with having 60 or a whole bunch of them at these events. But it's not my money. It's not my event. It's not my decisions. And quite frankly, well, what can you do? It's just part of the community. And, asking people for $400 entry fee. And I always like to look at things from a business standpoint. You've been running this thing the same way for going on almost 10 years. And, within the last 3 years, it's gone from place to place, different convention center to convention center, Mandalay Bay, the Vegas Convention Center. It's all over the place. And I'm not in the background to tell you what's going on, who's running the event, who's making the calls. But when you start asking people to pay that kind of money, and again, this is just from my perspective, when nothing new is really being added, you still have all your side stuff. You still have all those games that people want to play, your Marvel Infinites, your Breaker's Revenge, your Super Turbos. All I ask is if my entrance fee is being doubled or tripled, what else am I going to get out of this thing? Because I've been coming to this event for many years. It's are you guys going to add another MC to the table? Are we going to have more L.I. Joe sing-alongs? And people love that stuff. It's people love the stuff that goes on in these events, and it's funny. We all love it, but sometimes even after said event, everybody it takes a week and it's just on to the next topic. And I guess that's my overall point. For that kind of money, to ask somebody to give that kind of money just to get into the place, because remember, each game is only about $10 or $20 just to enter said game's tournament. And, I mean, again, some people will easily fork it over. It's the place to be at. It's the place to be at when it comes to fighting games. Although you could somewhat make a case that if you look at CEO, which is going on this weekend, you look at Combo Breaker, you could grab somebody off the street who knows nothing about fighting games, and you blindfold them and you drop them in the middle of Combo Breaker. Hey, go have a walk. Don't go outside the building. Just stay in here. See what's going on. Because obviously they would tell, the suburbs of, the outskirts of Chicago and Vegas are obviously not the same thing. But then you blindfold that same person, drop them in the middle of Evo. Bigger convention space, but again, go walk around. How did you enjoy it? If you was to ask that same person, were you at the same event or a different event, they would probably say they were at the same event. Because, I've been to enough of these tournaments where, quite frankly, it's like, listen, they're fighting game tournaments. They're the FGC. This is what we do, and I'm not saying everything has to be different, but again, going back to traditional sports, this is why if you're a live golfer and a regular PGA golfer, it's the same sport. It's golf. But clearly there is much difference in the way the environments are between both organizations. Obviously the money, media coverage, clearly a different environment. With fighting games, not so much. And that's, truth be told, I'm not well versed in the majority of other esports, but I know, I guess you could say I'm surface level knowledge about those things. But it's the same across the board when it comes to gaming. I think some of us are still hoping that there is still an esports bubble to talk about, but everybody who knows anything knows that stuff, that bubble burst so many years ago, and I don't want to say we're back to everything just being grassroots. It's just a bunch of select tournaments that have all the media attention, all the big wigs are making the decisions, whereas you have some tournaments like the most recent the first edition, the DIY tournament, which was brought to you by a bunch of organizers here in New York City. And from my understanding, they did a good job. The people who went out there, they had a really, really good time. Shout outs to them. And let's see if there's going to be another one. I mean, actually, it's funny because during the same weekend, Fight Kingdom was happening, and that's I guess you want to call it a mid-major, happening out on the West Coast. And they've been doing it now for quite a while, and it's always a little fun tournament. But clearly, you could always tell there's a difference between something like that, which like Fight Kingdom, I believe it was still out in a hotel and little convention center, and we all know like how much work that takes. Even something like DIY, even though they were here at Brooklawn, which is by all means a nice sized land center, I mean it still takes a lot of work to get these things up and going. But the difference is that they're not charging $400, and again, Ralph, it's a major versus a quote unquote grassroots. No, listen, man, I fully understand. Everybody sticks to their lanes, and you always feel that everybody just wants to have the next big thing. And I don't know, is $400 entry fee the next big thing? Is that just going to be common across all these big tournaments, or is it only just for EVO? I would love to know what the entrance fees are for EVO Japan and even the upcoming EVO France. But to me, it's just going back again. If you're going to charge me that kind of money to get in, and again, this is from the outside looking in. I don't see any new sponsors. I don't see, outside of SNK throwing some money at their tournaments at EVO, specifically for City of the Wolves, I don't see any other money being added to the pot. And let me just say this. These publishers, these developers like Capcom and, Bandai Namco, I mean, they don't have to do this. So it's very, very nice of SNK to do that. But it goes back, again, from the outside looking in. Is it worth it going to these things? And listen, a ton of people, they will be going out. We're not dummies here, we're not stupid. It's the tournament to be at. Although a lot of people say Combo Breaker's the tournament to be at. It's one of those things, it comes with the territory. And I think the community is basically, this is just what we are. This is what the fighting game community is. And listen, a lot of people don't like this, but we're all just behind the microphone. We're all just behind keyboards. The masses are all going to attend. And a lot of people who complain and bitch and moan, like I said, behind the microphone, behind keyboards, they're going to attend too. Because there's not many of these around, and, we feel that we have to be there. A lot of us do. Again, you're talking to somebody that I don't feel like I have to be at EVO. That's just me. I'm not saying I'm right. And what these tournaments also are is a way to see your buddies, to hang out with people. Maybe there's a couple of after parties you're invited to. And maybe you get to smooch around with some internet celebrity, some YouTube celebrity. Oh, man, look at that. I finally got a chance to meet this person. I thought he wasn't real. I just always saw him on video form. It's a big social, I don't want to say social experiment, but it's a chance for a lot of people to just go hang out with people that they've made friends over the internet, because that's one thing that our generation has really, really done a lot of. Let's make friends. Let's make lifelong friends over the internet. I remember back during the Modern Warfare 2 days, Me and my brother, we met a ton of people in real life. We went fishing, some people that we're still very close to. And that's what these tournaments allow you to do. And that's just only from from the social standpoint of things. People that go to these things is like, hey, the fighting game tournaments are there. They're for fun, but I'm really here to hang out with everybody that, that hopefully makes it out here. Maybe we can make it a weekend where, we're never going to see each other for another year, or heck, for all we know, this might be the only time, or hell, the last time where we're going to see each other, because you never know what's ahead. So maybe the entrance fee doesn't mean anything for a lot of people. The more important thing is getting together with those friends, getting together to enjoy the thing that brought us together. That's really my take on it. I don't think there's a right or wrong here. I mean, these people, they are promoters. If you know anything about sports, if you know anything in general about organizing, sometimes the fees have to go up, and there has to be a number that's that you just come down to, and this is what's going to cost somebody to come in here. We're going to do our best to give them a product that everybody loves, and let's be honest, guys, running these events, it's not cheap. There's a great video out there. I think the YouTube channels is Phoenix Resells. There's a great video that he got a chance to record. He recorded the people who bought the, I believe it was the Los Angeles Gaming Expo. I believe that's the convention that they bought, and he chronicled what it all took just to get their first edition up and running. And at the end of the day, he was there the entire weekend. You get to see the logistics side of things. I suggest everybody go and watch that. That's a really cool video. And mind you, that's just a video game convention. Sellers, booths, everything. They also had the Tetris World Tournament there. It's by Phoenix Resells, and it's the behind the looks of putting together a gaming convention. I personally think that's one of the best videos I've ever seen on the subject. It's about 30 minutes long, but it's definitely well worth it. And it's, I believe if I remember correctly, one of the organizers there, he said that we do this for the love of it. And let's be honest, that's really what the evil organizers are doing. I don't know any of them, but to be doing this thing for as long as they have, and let's be honest, not being driven crazy, because we all know how this community could be. They're doing it for the love, and unfortunately, a lot of people are going to look at it as like, well, if it's so much for the love, then why are you charging me so much money? It's like, well, it's for a love, but it is also a business. If it's really only just for the love, you go ahead and do it, and you see how fast you get in the hole. Yeah, sorry guys, I wouldn't be able to do it next year, but thank you. It was a lot of fun, because quite frankly, I can't afford to keep losing money. Things just don't work out that way. I said what I said, and what could you do? Honestly, what could you do? If you go, enjoy it. But I have a funny feeling that attendance is going to be way down this year. And by the way, let me just say this. The one thing that's wrong that they did a 50% off registration after the fact. I believe it was like the last day. Just a note, guys. Whoever's running it, do yourself a favor. Do the half off code right before it starts full regular registration. I think the community would have accepted that way more than it was at the last day. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong, but I did see a lot of people getting angry about that. It's like, wow, really? They put a 50% off registration fee on the last day of registration? That should have been at the beginning. Learn to read the room. I know whoever's running it, it's, running around, getting all this stuff ready, because conventions this size, it takes months in advance. Contracts have to be signed. You got to give your audience, the people going, a chance, man. Come on. You can't be doing that. But listen, whoever goes to EVO, have fun. It's quite amazing how many games they're gonna have for people, that want to get into tournaments, win something, and it's like, hey, maybe this is the world championship for a set specific games. But whoever goes, have fun, because going back, a lot of people are gonna go to it because it's the it thing to be at. That's what EVO is. Just like I'm sure a lot of people are going to make sure to be putting money aside because they need to go to EVO France. Just like when EVO Japan was announced, there were a lot of people on social media, hey man, I'm going to take some life savings. I have to go over there because it's the place to be at, especially in Japan, because Japan is a dream trip for a ton of people within the gaming community. That's the destination. God bless you. I just hope you were responsible. But I'm not here to tell anybody how to live their lives. And speaking of people living their lives, and this is a small little thing. Tekken player by the name of Joe Budden dressed up as Dr. Doom, Yankee cap and all, and some shirt that I believe said revenge. We've all heard the stories. Ultra soft. It's he beat a Tekken player, one of the top Tekken players, apparently at the venue at the time. Don't really know the man's background, but the fact of the matter is he lost. And then next thing you know, this guy gets up, kind of makes an ass out of himself. And some people had to clarify what happened. He was told not to go to the background, but unfortunately, we kind of live in some times where people don't think rules apply to them. So he got escorted out, and from my understanding, he's been banned from any Tekken World Tour sponsored events, and I don't think he's going to be at EVO. From my limited knowledge of it, it's apparently some guy who's been an online warrior, just talking all kinds of trash, and people said, oh, you're never going to come to an offline event and win anything. And to his credit, I guess, he did really, really good. But unlike the person, and, we're going back here in the time machine, unlike that DOA player who came out during DOA 5 at a big event, I forget the guy's name because, again, we're going back in the time machine here. He was strictly a DOA 2 Ultimate online player, DOA 4. Listen, it's just one of these cats that is never, ever going to want to step foot in an offline event, but they're really, really good online. The Forever Clan was like that, and the Forever Clan showed that, we're actually pretty good offline. But going back, that DOA 5 player came out to one of the big events, and he won the entire thing. And quite frankly, he did not act like a complete idiot like this Joe Budden character did. It's just one of those things where they probably knew what they were doing, this person, and he knew he was never going to be back. Hey, listen, they say, he's banned, but we all know, unfortunately, a couple of banned, quote-unquote, banned players from the past have snuck into EVO without any kinds of problems. So it is what it is. But unfortunately, and this is the trolling side of the gaming community, of the FGC, they literally, to quote my buddy Mike, they literally found their new hero, their new mouthpiece. Because this guy has made an impact, and we all know how everybody loves hype. To a lot of people, hype is currency. It's more valuable than gold. It's more valuable than silver. It's more valuable than whatever they think is the most valuable thing on the planet. And this guy, he's going to be trending. Let's be honest. Certain groups are going to use this guy as a mascot. Because, the FGC is too soft these days. It's being ran by a bunch of cowards. We all know who's been having those kinds of conversations. So, there you go, man. You guys found your new poster boy. Hey, listen, man. Some people just don't know how to do things with class. Hey, what can I tell you? Some people just don't have class on anything. And by the way, don't get it wrong. I mean, this is a scene that's full of gimmicks. Wrestling philosophy, if you want to think about it, has had such a huge impact on the FGC, probably more than any other gaming community. You know, we have so many gimmicks walking around. Now, back then, forever. And this was just the most recent one. And you know he's basically etched himself into the history books. He just etched himself. And you're going to be hearing about this guy for, forever. Who knows? I mean, maybe he'll pop up on some online thread. You know he will. His name is going to live forever now. And listen, we all know it's a joke. Unfortunately, a lot of people are just gonna take it, and it's like, yep, there you go. That song said, "There goes my hero." Watch him as he flows. I believe that's the lyric. Just a couple little notes here. I'm gonna be running a. I actually got some backlash from somebody. It's like, boy, like you really want to open up that echo chamber? I don't think it's an echo chamber, but I'm running a who's my favorite Evo winner of all time. Using the great powers of Wikipedia, and if you want to call it record keeping, listen, it's pretty good. I decided to compile a list of every Evo winner ever. I mean, every game that was quote unquote official. Yes, even Mario Kart was an official game one year at Evo. So was ARMS. So the people who won that, they're gonna be part of the list. I'm gonna do a single elimination round robin bracket. I'm still trying to find a way to rank these things. But if I remember correctly, because I haven't looked at it in 2 days because I've been so busy, there was 148 total Evo winners. Even back when it was known as Battle by the Bay. And I have to do it soon, man, because Evo is right around the corner. It's the beginning of August. So it's going to be at my Twitter page, Positively Ralph. You can find me on there. But that's going to be happening. So it's going to be poll-based, and I'm hoping a lot of you guys and girls out there are going to be participating on it, giving a like, a share, a repost. Hey, maybe you want your favorite Evo champion to win. You never know. Talk to you guys later.
You win.
This has been a KPB Media Works production.